be with our backs to
That's so badass.
Thanks, man.
start outside.
So badass. Stabilizer?
Yep.
Man.
How's it going, guys? My name is Justin Melson with Happyfox Productions, and have you guys ever wanted to get super smooth, super stabilized shots for your short films and commercials and whatever you guys shoot? Well, stick around because we have a review on Glidecam's new Centurion, and we're going to see if it's the right gimbal for you. We're going to be looking at, is it worth it for you? Is it worth it for your style of filming and the kind of projects that you do? Is it worth it with the camera that you have? We're going to be looking at all those things in this review. A little bit about my background, how I've used it. I've used the gimbal for about 2 to 3 months now, and I've traveled across the country with it. I've been to Miami, I'm about to go to Boston, Kansas City, went to LA with it. I traveled a good amount with it, and was it able to hold up? Stay tuned and I'll tell you. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this review and see if it's worth it for you.
And action!
All right, everybody out. Let's move. Go, go, go!
So first off, my initial impressions were, whoa, this thing is super small. This thing is tiny and this thing is light, but also, where's the Pelican case? It didn't come with the Pelican case whatsoever. You literally, right when you unbox it, it's just the cardboard box, the foam, and the accessories in the actual unit, which was great. I was like, okay, well, it's really small and compact, but it could have used a Pelican case. that was the biggest downfall right when I got it. And for me, like I just mentioned, I travel for work, I produce shows and short films and things like that. And I need to be able to put this thing, check it, luggage and all that. And eventually I will be getting a Pelican case for it, but it would have been nice for it to come with. The next thing I noticed was this thing is so small, and the payload it can hold is about 1 to 5 pounds, which is really good if you're shooting on like a Sony a7S Mark I or Mark II, or maybe even a GH4, GH3. I haven't tested it with that camera, but for very, very small cameras, this rig is ideal for. So for example, I have my Sony a7S Mark II, which is filming me right now, and I have a Sigma 18 to 35 millimeter art lens, which is a pretty, not beefy lens, but it's a pretty regular sized lens, and that didn't even work on the Centurion. I had to take that lens off and I had to put on my Canon's kit lens, take off all the accessories just to have the bare body, the naked camera, and the kit lens for it to work. That's how light this thing is. The good things about that are when I was traveling, for example, I went to Florida and I was filming in extremely hot conditions, extremely humid conditions, and we were covering like 12 tennis matches at the same time, and he wanted them all stable shots for the most part. And I'll get to that when I say for the most part, but I'm like, okay, well, he's like, we're gonna be holding that rig for about 12 hours today, which goes into battery life. The battery life on this thing's exceptional. I've never had to even consider changing batteries. I charge the 4 batteries that come with it. They're like, 4 blue looking batteries. You charge them and they last you the whole day, just hands down. I never even have to think about them. The other thing is, since it's so light, it takes a long time for the fatigue to set in. You don't need any Atlas support or anything like that for this kind of a rig. You can literally just hold it all day and there's nothing wrong. I mean, don't get me wrong, in Miami, I was breaking a heavy sweat holding this thing all day, but the actual fatigue of holding it was at a very, very small amount. All right, now let's jump into what everybody buys this thing for, the stabilization. How stable is it? Now, rule of thumb is usually the smaller the hardware, the less it is able to keep things stable. And I know that's kind of a rough thing to say, but it's true. If you have a smaller camera and a smaller gimbal, you're so much more prone to bigger movements because we're bigger humans. So if you do this, obviously it's not gonna be able to keep it as stable as opposed to if you have a big Arri Alexa and a big Steadicam, or even like an Alexa Mini on an M15 or something. Obviously, that's easier to keep stable because you're just dealing with bigger mass objects. So yeah, it's kind of easier to stabilize it. But the smaller the camera, the smaller the rig, and the lighter the rig, it's harder to stabilize it because you have all the elements. You have the wind, you have your footsteps, and all those things. So with that said, how stable is this? To be completely honest, it wasn't the stablest. Is that even a word? It wasn't the stablest, being dead honest. No matter what I did over the first month, I just couldn't get it too stable. And then I realized something. I had my Atomos Ninja Flame plugged into the camera while I was monitoring. So once I unplugged the cable, because the cable is pretty light, but since this thing is so light, that little bit of cable messed with the whole balance. So I unplugged the cable and it improved a lot. I could, in fact, if anything, it works best when you're moving the gimbal. So for example, if you're doing a pan or you are doing a tilt up and down, it works really good, but just straight, steady walking forward, no matter what I did, without using warp stabilizer, there was always footsteps. And another example is when I was filming out of a helicopter the other day. Obviously, you're filming out of a helicopter, it's very windy, very vibration-y. I keep using these weird words. There's a lot of vibration in the helicopter and there's a lot of wind. Obviously, we're really high up in the propellers. And I was holding this thing out the window, literally holding this thing out the window. If you do the kind of work that says you don't need the most stable footage unless you want to go into post, which is no problem with that. But if you need something that's better than handheld, it's so small and compact, which has its pros and cons. It's so small and compact, you could take it to the airport. I've taken it to the airport 3 times now. You can take it wherever. You could set it up in literally 10 minutes. I literally get on set and they're like, all right, we're taking off in the helicopter in 10 minutes, do your thing. And I can have this thing balanced in about 5 minutes, which is really, really good. But the cons of that are the stabilization that you get isn't quite there. But you know, I don't know if that's because this is Glidecam's first gimbal or just because it's so small. Maybe it's diminishing returns. It's like you get so much out of it. It's so light, it's so quick to set up, it's so good, but at the same time they have to sacrifice. Maybe it's the motors, I'm not exactly sure. But I do have to say, out of all the things that I've said about this thing, my favorite thing about it by far is the sound it makes when it turns on. All right, ready? It's kind of like a welcome home. Doesn't that sound cool? Every time you turn it on, it's like, hey, how's your day going? Another thing that I wanted to bring up is you have a little joystick on top. So if you straight up wanted to take off your handlebars, you can just control it using the joystick. Like right, I don't know if you can see it right here. It's really cool. You can go up, you know, tilt, pan, do the whole thing. So sometimes when I'm filming tennis and I have it on mode number 3, because if you're on the 3rd mode, you can straight up move the whole gimbal without moving the camera whatsoever, which is really cool. But the joystick is really cool and really helpful. But I will say one issue that I did have with it was also when I was filming, I don't know if it's a heat issue or humidity issue, but when I was filming in Miami with it, and you know, I don't blame this because I was drenched in sweat too, but the handlebars, even now, they never completely locked on, no matter how much I screw it on. These threads right here, no matter how much I screwed it on, they would still like, see how it could just, I'm just able to easily move it. So sometimes I'll be filming it and I'll be filming up like this. So yeah, she just did it right now. So I'll be filming up at an interviewer. So let's say I'll be filming a tennis player and the guy's super tall. Now I'm kind of short. So I'll be filming up at him. And then as I'm filming up, it'll start to do this. See, it's doing it right now. Look. You know, it'll do that like mid-interview. And I'm like standing here holding it like this, and it doesn't help that it just starts slipping away like that. So that was one of the cons. No matter how much I tightened it, it would still do that. So, and again, like I said, I'm being completely honest about this review. So with that said, if that's the kind of work you do, like, hey, you just need some stable stuff that you can transport relatively quick and easily. You can set it up really quick. I cannot emphasize enough how fast you can stabilize this thing. You can get it out of your bag and stabilize it in 3 minutes. I kid you not. It is so quick to stabilize this thing. The only thing is, the results lack a little bit in the actual stabilization. I've never had any malfunctioning issues. I've never had it die on me. I've never had anything like that. It's always been great. But for me, it's kind of like digital versus analog kind of thing. It's like with the HD2000 or their other gimbals, I could just take it out. If it's balanced, then I know I'm good. Then I know I'm gonna get good footage, no matter what. Like, hands down, the Glidecams, like 2000, 1000, 4000s, if you stabilize it well and the operator knows what he's doing or she's doing, then you're gonna get good results, hands down. But don't get me wrong, if you need quick stuff, if you need something that's better than handheld, or you just need things that are like, you don't mind if you see your footsteps and you can warp stabilize it later, then definitely get it. And that's just my overall thoughts on the thing. Like I said, I give it a hard B. Like, this is their first gimbal, and they did a pretty damn good job with it. But like I said, they provided me with this, and I'm extremely grateful and happy that they did, because I'm gonna be using it on so many more productions. I've used it on like 10 productions already this year. It's a really, really good unit, and I definitely recommend you guys check it out. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any questions, suggestions, or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. My name is Justin Melson with Happyfox Productions. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.